So your small business is up and running, but you're not quite sure which perks to pick up. Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to look at what all 15 of the small business perks in The Sims 4 do, and I'll also be giving them a subjective rating out of 5. And of course, this is just my opinion, and it's totally cool if you disagree with my rating. Before we get started, know that you'll need access to the Business and Hobbies expansion pack to be able to run a small business and thus have access to these perks. Additionally, these perks are split into 3 categories, being Schemer, Neutral, and Dreamer, with there being 5 perks in each category. Know that 1 perk from each of the Schemer, Neutral, and Dreamer alignments is unlocked every time your business gains a star rating. We're going to start out with the Schemer perks, and note that making use of these perks will advance your business's Schemer alignment. At a 1-star business, you can pick up Sway to Buy. With this, you can click on any object that's for sale and select Sway to Buy before choosing a sim you want to try and sell it to. If successful, then the target sim will go and purchase the object instantly, and you'll gain a small confident moodlet. However, if this fails, then you'll instead gain an embarrassed moodlet for 4 hours, and you won't be able to try and sway any more sims to buy your products while the moodlet is active. Additionally, while it's hard to say for sure, I do believe having a higher charisma skill will make this interaction successful more often. Also know that you can only sway a specific sim to buy 1 item at a time, with there being a cooldown before you can use this interaction on them again. Overall, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. It's essentially a sales tactic that can make you a decent amount of money depending on what goods you're selling. The Fake Payments perk becomes available when your business reaches a 2-star rating, and to make use of this, you'll need to select your staff members and select Manage Salary and then Fake Salary Payment. Once enabled, you'll essentially save money by not paying your staff any real money at all. However, just be aware that this can backfire. Occasionally you can get caught and subsequently fined for your falsified records, though you'll likely still be saving money overall. You can also choose to fake a bill payment and essentially not pay your household bills too, which we love. Just be aware that while fines can start out small, they can also grow larger over time, and so you may want to balance how much you make use of this perk. Additionally, following a large fine, you might need to select your staff and choose to start faking their payments again. Overall, this perk saves money, but also has a fair bit of risk that comes with it that keeps it exciting, and so I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Next, let's look at White Collar Robbery that's unlocked when you reach a 3-star business. Much like the kleptomaniac trait, this allows your sim to attempt to swipe objects from other lots. Similarly to the kleptomaniac trait, if you're caught in the act, then you'll end up with a strong embarrassed moodlet for 8 hours and not be able to steal again until it passes. Conversely, if you're successful, then you'll obtain the stolen item and also gain an energized moodlet for a period of time. And while this is active, you won't be able to steal again. On top of being able to steal, this perk allows you to access ordinarily restricted areas of a business, such as those zoned as being employee only or residential. You know, more places to sneak into and steal from. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. While I love stealing things, I'm also just a little let down because it's not all too new in terms of gameplay when factoring in the kleptomaniac trait. Moving on to Firestarter, which becomes available after reaching a 4-star business. This allows you to accidentally light an object on fire and set your business or even objects back at your home ablaze. You'll need to let the fire go on for a bit, after which you can eventually extinguish the fire yourself or alternatively call the fire department to have them put it out. Then when your insurance payout arrives, you'll notice that it's unusually large thanks to your dodgy friends. So yes, you're kind of committing insurance fraud here. From what I can tell, there's no cooldown or real downside to this besides a little cleaning, and it still works even if you have a fire alarm. Overall, I think it's a really fun and chaotic perk, and so I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. The final Schemer perk that becomes available when your business reaches 5 stars is called Ultrasonic Whistle. This perk will start by being on, however it can be disabled by using a small business sign, ticket machine, or a computer. To make this perk shine, you'll want a business that uses one-time entry fees for your customers. then while this perk is active, your sim will release a sharp piercing noise around them that'll make nearby customers who've already paid their entry fee leave your business, and they'll then be replaced by new customers. In short, it'll increase your customer turnover and let you make a lot more money. However, there is a catch, being that your customers won't be all too satisfied by your high-pitched antics, and so they'll often leave having had a negative experience. But seeing as you're already a 5-star business, this won't matter all too much. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I like that it's unique, allows you to make money, and how it's fittingly chaotic, though I do wish the actual high-pitched sound that gets played was toned down a bit because my ears genuinely hate it. We're moving on to the neutral small business perks, starting with Leave a Tip that's unlocked at 1 star. There are 3 stages of this perk costing a perk point each, meaning that it'll cost 3 perk points to max it. Essentially, this just allows customers to leave a tip, with the tips becoming larger the more points you invest into this perk. Money that's obtained from tips will be shown in your financial overview, and while it's passive money, tips also won't make you a huge amount of simoleons. Unless other perks don't appeal to you, then I think you can pass on this one, and overall I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. I think it would have worked better if it was a single perk rather than a perk with 3 tiers. The going viral perk is what we'll focus on next, and this is available to pick up once your business reaches 2 stars. Much like Leave a Tip, this has 3 tiers, meaning that it costs 3 perk points to fully max this. Now what this does is increase customer satisfaction, and you're probably hearing that and wondering what exactly it means for your business. Well, when your customers are satisfied, they'll reward your business with renown, and earning renown is the way in which you increase your business's star rating. I ran a few tests comparing not having the perk with having the perk maxed, one being for 8 hours at a rank 2 pottery store and another for 12 hours at a gym, and what I found is that having the perk maxed increased the amount of renown a business earned by just under 60% in the first test and 35% in the second test. Both huge outcomes, and seeing how earning renown is rather slow and that it's a big factor in advancing your business, this perk is essentially one of the most powerful tools that you can use to increase your business's star rating at a faster rate. While its impact feels mostly passive, the increased rate in gaining renown is also critical to every business. Because of this, I think you should always consider taking this as you build up your business, and then after reaching a 5-star business, you can reset your perk points and reallocate them to different perks. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5 because while absolutely essential, it's also not really fun or quirky in any way. The next perk that we'll look at is Muscle Memory, which becomes available after your small business reaches 3 stars. And just like the 2 perks before, this has 3 stages. In short, this perk means that you'll train up your skills faster while your business is open. But of course, the key question is, how much faster is that? From my testing, once the perk is maxed out, you'll gain skills at a little over double the usual rate, which is a massive skill training boost. Seeing as you can interchange small business perks freely, it's definitely worth picking this up whenever you're training skills at your business. And then once you've maxed the skills that you need, you can substitute it out with other perks. Just remember, the boost only comes into effect while the business is open. Overall, while it's useful, it's also just a skill gain boost, and so I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Invest in SimoCoin is the next perk we'll focus on, and it becomes available when your business reaches 4 stars. This lets you start mining SimoCoin from the small business section of a computer at the cost of 100 simoleons. The computer will then mine SimoCoin for 8 hours, and while a computer is mining SimoCoin, you won't be able to use it for anything else. While this will run up your energy bill, this ultimately won't be a huge concern when you get a SimoCoin payday at the end of the 8 hours, especially when you consider the fact that you can set up multiple computers to mine SimoCoin. It's absolutely a path to riches. While I know this is the Sims equivalent of mining Bitcoin and not necessarily trading in it, I personally hate crypto because it's associated with so many pump and dump scams and dodgy practices, and I ultimately just don't think crypto needed to be added to The Sims 4 in any form. I'm sure many people will disagree with me here, but I'm giving this perk a 0 purely because I hate crypto and it's something that I could have gone without having in The Sims. The final neutral perk that we'll look at is Irresistible Scent, and this becomes available once your business reaches a 5-star rating. Notably, this conflicts with Ultrasonic Whistle, and for good reason. While Ultrasonic Whistle shines when your business employs a one-time payment system, Irresistible Scent works best when you charge an hourly rate, and this is because it will cause customers to stay at your business for longer, reducing customer turnover and thus increasing the amount of money your business makes. Also know that much like Ultrasonic Whistle, this perk can be disabled. I'm giving this a 2 out of 5. While cool in theory, I feel like in practice it doesn't actually have a massive impact on increasing your business's earnings. Now let's turn away from the neutral life and embrace all things Dreamer. That's right, it's Dreamer perks time. And know that using these perks will strengthen your business's Dreamer alignment. When your business reaches 1 star, you'll be able to pick up the Inspiring Business Story perk, which unlocks the Inspire with Business Story interaction on other Sims. Should this go well, then you'll get a decent friendship boost and a happy moodlet that lasts for a few hours. But this can also go bad, which will damage your relationship with the target sim and leave you embarrassed. If I'm honest, this perk is just a bit nothing, and so I'm giving it a 1 out of 5. Employee bonus is next, and this becomes available when your business reaches 2 stars. Once you've picked this up, then from the small business and then manage salary section of interactions on an employee, you'll be able to give them a bonus of up to 100 simoleons. If successful, this will boost your relationship with the employee and give you a confident moodlet. However, if it fails, which it absolutely can do, then it'll damage your relationship with the employee. And this can be kind of annoying. Like, I just gave you a 100 simoleon tip and now you hate me? Why? I don't get it. Overall, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5, just because while it's nice to give your employees a bonus, the way it costs simoleons and can backfire makes it almost too risky to be worth the reward. Perhaps my favorite perk is next, being Chug The WUTANT. This becomes available to pick up once your business reaches a 3-star rating. The interaction to Chug The WUTANT is actioned by clicking on your sim, and it will see them chug an energy drink that gives your sim a plus 999 energized moodlet for 24 hours and completely max out their needs. On top of this, your sim will get little spurts of energized super speed while this moodlet is active too. If you thought this was too good to be true, then yes, there is a catch. Being that after the energized moodlet wears off, your sim will crash, have their energy need plummet, and then pass out for literally 8 hours. And what's kind of annoying is that you can't super speed through the time period at the sleeping rate even if you're the only sim on the lot. Truthfully, I have no idea why this is a Dreamer aligned perk. Like, I've never in my life heard someone say that they want to be morally upstanding by drinking energy drinks. But I'll let it slide because it's a really fun perk to use. Overall, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5, but just be warned that using it while playing a solo sim can be super boring when you then have to wait 8 hours for your sim to wake up after passing out. The next perk that's unlocked when you reach a 4-star business is called Customer Appreciation Day, and this can be actioned from the small business perks section of a kiosk, business sign, or computer. Launching this will open your business and start an 8-hour time period during which all the services that your business offers will be completely free to customers. But while you'll be losing out on profits, you'll be gaining in other areas, with customers building positive relationships with your business owner sim faster, and even having a decent chance to obtain the adoring sentiment towards them. It's honestly quite strong, to the point where you can make multiple friends throughout the day. In addition to this, customers are guaranteed to have a positive experience, meaning that you'll be gaining renown faster than you would otherwise, which will help you reach that 5-star rating. For example, testing an 8-hour regular opening saw my sim gain 235 renown, which can then be compared to an 8-hour Customer Appreciation Day which gained 365 renown. So there was around a 50% increase in the amount of renown gained during the Appreciation Day. Overall, I quite like this perk as there's a trade-off whereby you make less money to then progress in other areas, which is particularly nice when so many of the other perks are about making more money. And so I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. Now the final perk we're going to look at is Bartering, and you can pick this up once your business maxes out at 5 stars. This is a toggleable perk, but while it's on, it'll allow Sims to pay for services by giving you a collectible, rather than simoleons. From my experience, this works best when you have a couple of retail goods for sale, and in some cases I found it didn't actually work if there was nothing set for sale. Overall, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. It's particularly great for collector sims, and also keeps things interesting because there's so many different collectibles that you could be paid with. And that's a look at all 15 of the small business perks. Feel free to let me know your favorites or least favorites in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed or found this helpful, then please consider subscribing or leaving a like if you want to. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day. See you later.